Winning an NBA championship isn't easy, and the Golden State Warriors know it better than anyone else. The Dubs have another hurdle coming their way right after they survived the Green and Poole incident. So in today's video, we'll talk about the possibility that the Golden State Warriors will have to pay $513 million in luxury tax if they re-sign both Jordon, Poole, and Draymond Green. First off, the speculations. The Golden State Warriors are entering a new season in the NBA with a title to defend. The team has had a couple good years of having bagged the ring 4 times in the past 8 years. Needless to say, they want to retain their championship trophy and would do anything to keep it. Having said that, the Dubs seem to be waking up to the reality that it might be harder than before. Just recently, the franchise survived a controversy surrounding Jordon, Poole, and Draymond Green when the latter landed a jab in the former's face. We'll talk more about this incident and how it connects to the matter at hand later on in the video. Anyway, although management didn't suspend Green and awaited his return on the court, it wouldn't be easier for the Dubs to put both of them back in the game. You must be thinking it's because of the complex moment they shared. But no, there are other reasons. Speculations have it that if the franchise keeps both players, it might incur $513 million in luxury tax. For context, the Warriors have already led the NBA in luxury tax payments twice, once in the season 2020-21 with a payment of $68.9 million, and for a second time in the last season with almost thrice that amount. Other than the Warriors, the Brooklyn Nets paid $97.7 million in luxury tax in 2021, and the Los Angeles Clippers incurred around $83 million during the same year. Comparing these amounts to the speculated $513 million this year makes them seem like breadcrumbs. Moving on, what's the luxury tax? Luxury tax is a surcharge on the total payroll of a team if it exceeds a certain threshold specified by the league. It is a mechanism in most professional sports leagues to ensure a leveled playing ground for all teams by keeping franchise from pulling in all the high-profile players to its roster. The teams exceeding their spending threshold pay the tax as per their overspending. There's an added surcharge for repeating violations. As far as the NBA is concerned, for each dollar above the threshold up to $20 million, a team could pay anywhere from $1.5 to $8.5 million, depending on the slab it falls on and its history of repeated violations. The money collected from the tax is then distributed among the teams under the tax threshold. The threshold for this season stands at $150 million per team. Any franchise exceeding that amount in their total player salaries would have to pay the applicable tax as per the league rules. Up next, why is this detail important for the Golden State Warriors? Like most of the leading teams, although the Warriors are accustomed to paying vast sums in luxury tax, things seem to get out of hand. Just last season, the Dubs paid a whopping $170.3 million, an all-time league high in luxury tax. Forbes analyst Brian Toporek revealed that, as per their contracts this season, the team would pay out $189.5 million in player salaries, around $39.5 million over the threshold. Adding up all the violation surcharge, the Warriors are expecting to incur another league-high $170.2 million in luxury tax this season. All these add up to a towering $360 million just to maintain a championship-worthy roster. Talking to Tim Kawakami of The Athletic a couple of months back, Warriors CEO Joe Lacob admitted that the franchise was in no position to spend more than the current amount, even if it wanted to. It is important to note here that for their repeated violations and overspending, the Warriors would pay around $7 in luxury tax for each buck above the threshold. What makes matters worse is the uncertainty surrounding the tax system in the NBA. Reportedly, the league management and team governors have it on their agenda to enforce more punitive penalties in the luxury tax. On the contrary, team executives believe they are already too stringent and need addressing in the next CBA. This air of uncertainty is another reason the Warriors need to rethink their plan. The anticipated changes in the tax system might swing their way, or they could come back harsher. Either way, they've got to maintain a balance now that they're up against the wall. Moving on, both Poole and Green can't continue with the Warriors. First, the two players have a complex relationship now ever since Green punched Poole in the face. The whole thing was caught on a video that made rounds on social media. The team administration later fined the 32-year-old, and he apologized to Poole and his family. Although verbal altercations are a regular thing in the NBA, anything more than that is rarely ever seen. It's true that the 23-year-old handled himself well after the incident. There is no guarantee that the two would have the same relationship on the court. Even if the looming gaps in chemistry are ignored, the Warriors are at a point of no return financially. The Warriors CEO spelled it out loud and clear that the team was at its spending limit, with Steph Curry's Supermax contract worth $215.4 million beginning this season, and Klay Thompson's $40+ million million in each of the next 2 seasons, the Warriors are up against the wall. Making matters worse is the league's luxury tax. Amidst all this storm, Jordon and Draymond are both seeking a max contract with Golden State, but that's something the franchise just can't afford this time around. Although both the players were crucial to the Warriors' championship title last season, they'll have to make a tough decision and cut someone loose, probably Green as per reports. Coming up next, the NBA analyst predicts fans will troll Jordan Poole like Tyronn Lue and Steve Kerr. First off, all about the analyst prediction. The Green versus Poole incident was the biggest thing in the NBA offseason. Even in the heat of battle between two arch rivals, something of this sort rarely happens in the NBA, let alone between two teammates. Nevertheless, it happened, and although both seem to have made their peace with the recent past, the world hasn't forgotten, and maybe it never will. Bearing that in mind, an NBA analyst predicted things won't get better with time. He added that the fans would always remember and keep trolling Poole, just like Tyronn Lue and Steve Kerr. Tyronn had an infamous play with Allen Iverson in the 2001 NBA Finals when he tried defending against the star but failed. As Iverson made the basket, Lue fell to the ground and Iverson emphatically stepped over him before making his way back to the court. Similarly, Steve Kerr got punched by Michael Jordan during a practice in 1995. During an intense practice session, the two players ran into each other over some disagreement. Things escalated quickly, and by the time it was over, Michael had landed a punch on Steve Kerr's face right in the eye. Jordan was kicked out of practice for this. Amin Al-Hassan remarked on the recent episode of the Basketball Illuminati podcast that even after they all move on as a group, the 23-year-old would be a target of a joke for the rest of his life. Moving on, how are fans reacting to it all? From what we've seen on social media so far, people are praising Poole for his mature conduct and criticizing Green for crossing the limits. Moreover, his case is a bit different from that of Kerr and Lue. Fans loved everything Michael Jordan did on the court, being one of the greatest in the NBA. On the other hand, while Green enjoys sufficient respect, he isn't placed on the same pedestal as Michael for people to embrace whatever he does. As for Lue, the jokes come from the idea that the step-over was symbolic of Iverson's victory over Lue. Comparing the three incidents, it hardly seems plausible that the fans would be trolling Poole for getting punched in the face. Nevertheless, there still remains a minute possibility that it might be the case. Lastly, would it haunt him for the rest of his life? Kerr addressed his fight with Michael many times and took pride in it. He even admitted in the due course of time that the fight led to an improvement in his relationship with Michael. The two even went on to feature together in 200 games after that. So, even if the fans end up trolling Poole, he's already over the whole incident and even cracked a joke about it recently. Although he has yet to find a funny or positive way of looking at it, chances are that it won't end up haunting him for the rest of his life. That's a wrap for this video. What are your thoughts on the Golden State Warriors having to pay a $513 million luxury tax to retain Draymond Green and Jordan Poole on their roster? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you at the next one.